Alright guys, what's up? This is Tim, the Berlin Trader, and I'm here with your crypto chart update using technical analysis for September the 7th, 2017. This is brought to you by CryptoKing.org, which is a great website for all the latest crypto news, including these amazing videos. Also guys, if you enjoy my analysis, if you get some good ideas from this, please send me a donation. I have some tip links down below for Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. Send a couple of bucks my way, and that would be much appreciated. It takes a lot of time to go through these charts. I really enjoy it, but a little feedback monetarily is not unwelcome. So let's start with Bitcoin, as always, because most of the altcoins follow Bitcoin. I'm using the 60-minute chart. Trading stocks, I usually use the daily chart, but cryptocurrencies move so quickly and they're so volatile that the 60-minute chart is really a nice combination between those intraday movements where we can enter and do 1 or 2 day trades, and also the longer time frame, the daily time frame, that really gives us more of a trend and a sense of where it's going to go in the longer term. So if we zoom out of the 60-minute, we can see that general trend, and if we zoom in, we see more of that intraday movement, and it's not too choppy like the 5 or the 15-minute charts. If you watch those charts, you're really begging for trouble. It's going to make you go crazy because you're going to think that the price is just moving, in extremes all the time, and it does your head in. So I recommend maybe starting with the 60-minute or the daily charts. Today I'm using the 60-minute chart, and we see we had that big run up that everyone was talking about to 5,000, and that immediate pullback back down to around 4,200 or around 4,000 basically. And on the news everyone says, oh, the bubble is popped, it's over, woe is me, run for the hills, Warren Buffett was right, Bitcoin is bullshit. But that hasn't stopped the movement in the past. We've seen this all before, and Bitcoin has always continued to blow our minds. So there's no reason to think that it won't continue the trend. Sure, one day we might see a much larger pullback. We might see a bubble pop, so to speak. But right now, we're just going to read the technicals and we're going to follow the trends. And that's the advantage of technical analysis. You don't have to guess. You don't have to listen to anyone else. You can just look at the charts. Just look at the charts and see the trend and the momentum, and then you don't get caught in a bubble that pops, because when it hits 5,000 you take your profits and you get out, and you miss the waterfall to the downside. Okay, so be smart and learn your technical analysis. With the help of my analysis, I hope you can learn something. So Bitcoin popped up to 5,000, fell down to around 4,000, and now, as I predicted, we're just kind of channeling sideways, right? After such a large move from 4,000 to 5,000, I mean, we're talking 25%. We need some digestion. We need to, shake out all the profit takers, shake out all the shorts and the weak hands. We just need to go sideways for a bit and consolidate. And after we've consolidated for long enough, we'll make the next move. That move could be to the upside, it could be to the downside. My guess is upside, because that's the overall trend. So we hit that 5,000, we came down to 4,000, and now we're back up to 4,500. There are some short-term trades. For example, I made this trend line here, kind of coming down along these highs in price, and that would be kind of like a head and shoulders, right? We have the shoulder there, the big head there, and the other shoulder, and that would give us a target of around, 5,000. And that's basically my prediction, that we're going to be bouncing around between 5,000 and 4,500, or maybe we're going to be bouncing down to 4,000 and back up to 5,000. But somewhere in this range is where price is going to consolidate. So you can either wait for price to consolidate and break out of 5,000 and buy there, or you could wait till the price dips lower to 4,000 or 4,500 if you're more aggressive and buy there. Or alternatively, you could play the range. So you could buy at around 4,500 and sell at around 5,000. Buy at 4,000, sell at 5,000. Just play the range. So while everyone else is hodling and just sitting on their Bitcoins waiting for it to go higher, you're going to be actually making money. So that's how you can play the range. But it does require some balls, because to buy when the price is going down is tough. When the price goes down to 4,500 and you buy, and then it goes even lower, you want to run away, but you can't. If you're playing the range, you have to buy some more. So then when it goes back up, you're in the game. You cannot predict a bottom or a top. If you could, then you'd be a billionaire overnight. So no one can do that, and don't let anyone tell you that they can, because in the end it's all a guessing game, and it's just about playing the odds. If you're at 5,000, the odds are that we're going to go lower more than we're going to go higher, just because those are the pot odds, right? And so don't be in the business of making predictions. Be in the business of making a risk versus reward proposition. I can make 500 from 4,500 to 5,000, or I could lose 100, right? Set your stops so that your targets and your stops are 2, 3, 4 to 1, right? 4 is your reward, 1 is your loss. So you can lose 4 or 5 times before you actually lose money. You only need to hit one of those targets to make money, to break even. And that's really where the good traders are separated from the weak traders, is that they manage their risk properly. So next coin, let's look at Bitcoin Cash. I think Bitcoin Cash is actually doing something interesting. We had a nice breakout yesterday on the 6th of September out of this long downward trending channel. I've been watching this for a long time. A few breakouts, I jumped on the wagon, but they failed. But this one succeeded. This one broke out of that channel. You see my top line, that's connecting the tops of the prices, and the bottom line connecting the lows. And that created this downward sloping channel. And we're looking for a breakout, either to the downside or to the upside. And we got it yesterday. We got a breakout to the upside. When we break out to the upside, we're looking for a pullback and a hold of that support. And look at that, so textbook, so picture perfect, right? Price broke out and it pulled back right to the trend line. What do you know? And it held. So that means buyers came in at that new price level. This new price level becomes support, and now we've gone up to 710. That was my first target. I took profits there based on the Fibonacci level. My Fibonacci target was basically the height of the channel, right? Starting at the top of the channel, going to the bottom of the channel, and that gives us the target, our 161.8 retracement level of 720. I took profits at around 710, and lo and behold, the price fell back, and now we're testing this minor support at around 656, which were the highs of this flag here. So if we hold this support, I think we're going to go higher to our next target, which is around 780, 800. If we break, we might head back down to the trend line again and we'll see if we can hold that support once more. But the more times you test a level, remember, that's the likelihood increases that it will break. So the more we test that support level, the more that support level could break and we could drop. If we test it once, it's strong. But if we test it two or three times, then it's going to get weaker and eventually it's going to break. But right now it looks strong. Right now that moving average, that 200 moving average, that trend, long-term trend is bending upward, and that's a really good sign. When this moving average is bending up, that means the direction of the trend, the momentum of the trend is really pushing upwards, right? Like a tectonic plate, like a volcano slowly gathering power. And if that moving average turns up even higher, that's a really strong sign. So I think things are looking good for Bitcoin Cash to go higher, which also means things are looking good for Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin Cash is doing well, usually Bitcoin is doing well as well. It really actually depends. There's some very interesting relationships between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin. Sometimes they move in tandem, in sync, and other times they move opposite directions. And I think that's something we can analyze in another video, because analyzing those two relationships can really give you clues as to whether Bitcoin itself is going to break a resistance level and head higher. Okay, let's check out some of our other favorites, just some of the bigger coins. Ethereum. You know, I'm not going to check out all the altcoins unless you guys send me a request, because there's so many. So please send me a request for altcoins. You know, tell me your ideas. Hey, check this out, analyze this in the video, because I want to fulfill you know, your desires there. If we look at Ethereum, we basically mirrored Bitcoin's movement. I mean, we crashed down and now we're bouncing up, right? And we're just kind of just muddling around in the middle of a channel, not really seeing any great patterns or any signals, or, you know, we're just kind of bouncing around. And we can also see that in the RSI. You know, RSI isn't overbought and it isn't oversold. It's just kind of bouncing around the middle. There's not really any pattern here. There's nothing really we can do. I wouldn't enter. You know, it could crash, it could go higher. It's probably just going to bounce around. So don't waste your time on bad patterns. Please don't waste your time on bad patterns. You may think you see something, but if it's not obvious, if it's not viewable by everyone, then it's not a good pattern. And a good pattern means everyone can see it, and that's great because you want people to see it. You don't want it to be a secret because you want people to buy and make the price go higher. We'll check out one altcoin, which is kind of my favorite at the moment, and it's doing pretty nicely, I gotta admit, is the PivX. You know, I've hammered on the table about this chart. It just looks beautiful. I mean, just look at these levels. I mean, we could just make so many beautiful trend lines here, marking the tops here, right? Marking the bottoms. There's one, and that broke out to the upside. Now we have this level, right? We had this level connecting the tops, and it just broke out. Now the big test is going to be this high up here around 450. But if it breaks that high, I mean, we've seen PivX come from 25 cents, $1, now it's at $4, and this thing could easily rocket up to $5, $6. When Bitcoin was crashing, this thing was holding its ground and moving higher. So I think that's a really good sign. If Bitcoin is doing well, I think PivX is going to do even better. And the concept behind it itself fundamentally is quite interesting. So guys, basically we have Bitcoin going sideways, playing the range. Could be a good idea. Otherwise, just sit tight and wait for a good pattern. The altcoins are basically following Bitcoin, but we can use those as clues, like Bitcoin Cash. We can use that as a clue. If it's doing well, then Bitcoin would probably also do well. And we have some altcoins like PivX, which are really showing strength when Bitcoin showed weakness, and that's a good sign. So look for coins that show strength and look for strong patterns, which means levels that stick, levels that are tested multiple times, because when you get a breakout of those defined levels, that's when things really take off. All right, guys, that was my crypto chart update for today. Again, please send me a tip if you appreciate the work. Send me a message with your questions or chart requests for analysis. I love hearing your feedback. I'll see you tomorrow.